Homies and homettes of the Seven Seas, welcome back to another Loki Games video. Okay, this is going to be done in a rather comedic way, because it's me, but do understand that these tips are serious, and it is things you will need to know if you want to actually do well in this fucking game. First off, for number one, is pick your classes wisely, homies and homettes. Get accustomed to different operators, because they can really make or break a game. Example, choosing Fuse in a hostage match isn't going to do too well, because he's equipped with a device that shoots grenades into a room, and if that room's got a hostage in it that you're trying to fucking save, well, your team's gonna get pissed off with you pretty quick. I'll be putting a video up very soon of my favourite operators to give you some sort of idea on good operators to unlock early if you're brand new to the game. Number two, this is for you defenders out there. The best way without getting hit is to lie your ass down. Now, I learnt this during my live stream after someone shouted it at me repeatedly until I listened. You want to make yourself as small a target as possible. Find a place you can chill out on your back. Poke out the only thing you need to poke out, your weapon, not the one in your pants. You can use that one later at the after party when you're celebrating your epic win. So once you've set up what you need to set up, which I'll get into in a second, observe at least one entry point in your little hidey hole. Don't just lie behind a fucking bar, staring at the wall, hoping your team will take everyone out before they get to you. Another thing I learned, which I'm not sure whether it helps at all, is where you're in prone and you move and stand up at the same time. You do this weird dash sort of thing. It'll probably give you an advantage if you need to like find cover fast or something like that. I'm not sure if it's any faster than just doing it normally, but that little dash, it's helped me out a few times. It saved my ass. Number three. Observe your defending operator's abilities before going into a match. You know what you're going to do when you start. I've seen quite a couple of new people as Rook, whose ability is putting down extra armor for the whole team, just running around trying to find fucking places to put up wooden barricades before hiding his fat ass behind the closest desk. If you know exactly what ability your defending operator has, you know exactly what you need to do to give your team the greatest chance of winning, because every second counts in this game. Also, if you're defenders, you should always be looking at those cameras that are put up around the map. If the team ain't very smart, they won't shoot them straight away, so you can easily spot the damn idiots before they even breach a wall, to give your team an exact direction to point all their guns at and shit. And if you're on the attackers, learn where those cameras are and take them out early. The more you shoot them, the more it's going to be sort of second nature to do it, to the point you don't even realise anymore you're doing it, like a brainwashed fucking android. Number four. The best thing to do as defenders is make it as difficult and as daunting looking as possible for the enemy coming in to fuck up your day. Remember, you have wall reinforcements that I completely forgot about for the first like 5 hours of playing the game. Bang that shit up in as many places as possible around the objective. If you know the map a little bit, this is a good tactic to put them up in a way to lead the enemy into sort of like a bottleneck to royally fuck them up. The less places they can come through, the easier it will be to defend. Unless they have that hot-headed retard thermite on their team that can burn reinforced walls away. In that case, just run around like a maniac spraying bullets everywhere and hope no one fucking hits you. So as I was saying, make it as difficult and as daunting looking as possible for the enemy team. Place razor wire in front of as many doors and windows as possible, because this will slow them down. Plus you'll be able to hear their little booties getting jammed up in that shit if you're not looking in that direction. Put up barricades and place C4 in places you think they'll be likely to enter. So if they do get a glimpse inside the place with a drone, it's going to look like fucking Fort Knox in that bitch. And no one wants to try and fucking break into that joint. Also, if you've got the operator Jaeger unlocked, you will have the ability to set up an active defense system that intercepts any form of grenades or flashbangs coming into the room. So set those weird android fucks up next to windows and doors in the room you're guarding, because seeing a grenade come flying through the window and disintegrating before it hits you in the face is always a fucking plus. Number five. Appreciate the ears that God gave you, because noise plays a big factor in this fucking game. It helps when you're doing intel at the start of the game with your drones, as you can normally hear the enemy putting up barricades if you're close enough, giving you a good idea in what direction they're in. And also, it's very good when defending, because if the enemy aren't in sneaky little shit mode, you'll hear their footsteps behind the wall, giving you enough warning to either shoot through that wall or set up ready to take their fucking head off when they breach through. Also, items around you can help in this. You'll be able to hear the enemy if he steps on razor wire or tries to destroying it with the butt of their little weapons. And you also hear a nice crunching noise if they step over broken glass. So smash some window glass, you can hear their ass. Comment. Okay, on to the attackers for number 6. The more entry points you make around a defended room, the better, because those defenders will start soiling their little loins when they have to guard more than one door at a time. Sledge is a good operator for this, because he has the mighty Thor hammer that he likes so much, that can knock down barricades and drywalls in 1 or 2 hits. A good tip I've started using is to play with their little mans a little bit. Go around the room knocking a couple of holes in that bitch before going in. I've had this done to me a few times, and when you're focused trying to defend one lonely door, and then a shitload of holes start appearing all around you in the walls, you've got no idea where people are going to come in from. You start panicking, you start thinking about if you're going to make it home for your fish fingers tonight, and unless you've got lazy eyes, you can only focus on one door at a time, motherfuckers. Number 7. Use R2-D2 to your advantage. Using your drones help out so much in the game, you got no idea. If you find the objective before the time runs out at the start of a round, don't just randomly leave it somewhere. Hide that little metal bitch in the objective room. Later on, when it comes time to breach that room, you can go back to the little tin can on wheels and spot the enemies in the room. The advantage of knowing exactly where they are in the room would be like rolling in as Neo, just popping off dudes without even directly looking at them and shit. Or you could also just shoot through the walls if you spot one right next to you. Also, a good tip for drones is if you find the objective early, try bouncing around those defenders, annoying the fuck out of them as much as possible. If they're not very good, it normally distracts them from setting up shit correctly, and if you're lucky, they'll start awkwardly fighting over you and end up hitting each other like retards. Quick tip for number 8. If you're defending a hostage, it's sometimes a good idea if you're outnumbered to hide behind the hostage, because as they're trying to shoot you there's a good chance that an awkward ass attacker is going to hit him by accident and lose the round. I'm not sure if this is really frowned upon, it probably is, but if 4 dudes charge in on just little old me on my own, I don't give a fuck. I'll run around like a fairy hiding behind innocents to win the round. And finally, we have number 9. This game can be played without a mic. If you want to have a little laugh and just play some casual games with some randomers, and the devs have implemented a couple of things into the game for non-mic owners, like using the spot feature to let your team know where to breach, or where the attackers are coming from that nobody on the team actually fucking notices most of the time. But after hooking up with some randoms in a match the other night, I realised if you want to get a bit more competitive and you don't want to fucking lose anymore, mics and communication with your team is definitely key to success in this game. I was getting maybe 4 or 5 wins a day with no mic. Hooked up with those badasses that knew how to communicate with their team, and we dominated every single fucking game for the next 6 hours with no losses. And why was this so easy? Because every team we went up against were a bunch of fucking mutes that weren't telling each other anything on where we were throughout the entire match. They might as well have been Stevie fucking Wonders with assault rifles. Yes, it would have been more difficult if the other team were like us, and that's when it comes down to pure skill and knowledge of the game, basically. Which in my eyes is the funnest thing ever, being challenged like that, because each kill injects you with this sense of achievement like it was truly earned, unlike running around like a spastic getting kill streaks to unlock the next nuke. Even though COD is an exciting game to a lot of people, I've just got bored of the same old shit. I might as well go outside and stamp on an ant's nest and get the same fucking satisfaction, you know? That's gonna fucking bring some hate to my video. Never mind. Now, something I've left out here is the tips are all well and good, but you guys will only get good at implying all these tips if you have knowledge of the maps. And the only way of doing that is playing on them. So no sitting in your room with blueprints you downloaded off Google, studying them all night. And while you're learning these maps, I'll be making a video to help you out on my favourite operators to start out with, to give you a nice little advantage for all you newcomers. Anyway, like I said, this video is for comedic reasons, but these tips are very good and do work for all you newcomers to the game. So it would be very nice of you to leave a like if you enjoyed my comedy and thought these tips were even slightly helpful. And make sure to follow me on all those stalker sites below if you give an eensy little bit of shit about Thor getting a day job in anti-terrorism agencies. Peace out.